Every day you wake up, brush your teeth, check your phone, maybe scroll through social media, go to work, buy something online, drive, call a friend, or pay a bill. You think you're living freely, making your own decisions. But what if I told you, behind every single action, there's an invisible law quietly shaping your choices, controlling your behavior, and deciding what's possible for you, even when you don't realize it. This is the hidden system, a law so deep in your everyday life that most people never even see it. Let's start from something simple. You pick up your phone in the morning and open your favorite app. The moment you tap it, your data, your location, your activity, your contacts starts moving through invisible pipelines. You never gave direct permission for half of what's happening, but the terms and conditions you agreed to, without reading, already decided how your digital life will be used. That fine print is law, a silent contract. You didn't sign it with a pen, but you accepted it with a single tap. And that law now controls what companies can collect, what they can sell, and what parts of you are no longer private. You think you own your phone. In reality, the law owns your digital self. Now, imagine you go out to buy a coffee. You hand over cash or tap your card. Even this simple act is guided by layers of hidden regulation. The payment system, the currency rules, the tax percentages, the pricing model, all shaped by a legal framework designed decades before you were born. That coffee isn't just coffee. It's a transaction governed by the law of commerce, banking law, and tax law. Every drop of caffeine you buy is part of a network of contracts between companies, banks, and governments, invisible but everywhere. Then there's traffic, the red light that stops you, the speed limit that controls you, even the seatbelt that saves you, all products of law. But here's the twist. You don't just obey the law. The law trains you to obey. From childhood, you've learned that when the light turns red, you stop. When the sign says, "No entry," you don't cross. You never question it. You've been programmed, not by force, but by routine. That's the power of a hidden law. It doesn't need to punish you. It just needs to make you believe that this is how things are supposed to be. But the most powerful laws aren't written in legal books. They're written in systems. Take money, for example. Every note, every transfer, every salary deposit follows rules set by people you'll never meet. Central banks decide the flow, governments decide the rate, and corporations decide the market. You work for hours, trade your time for numbers on a screen, and all of it is part of a silent legal machinery that defines what your effort is worth. You don't question it, because it feels natural. But those numbers, those limits, those deductions, they exist because of the invisible hand of law that touches every moment of your financial life. Even what you say isn't fully yours. Freedom of speech sounds absolute until you see the boundaries around it. What you post online, what you record, what you share, all run through filters built by law. Defamation, copyright, privacy, national security, these aren't just abstract ideas, they're fences. You can speak, but only inside the area the law allows. And that's the thing. The law doesn't always silence you. It simply decides how loud your voice can be. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine your job. You sign a contract. It looks like freedom. You agreed, right? But the clauses, the policies, the hidden terms, they all come from larger labor laws written to protect or sometimes limit you. You might think you're working for yourself, but you're actually working inside a structure built by legislation. Even your break time, your working hours, your rights after quitting. They're not just rules your boss made up. They're part of the same invisible law web that controls every movement in your career. And here's the scary part. This hidden law doesn't always protect you. Sometimes it protects power. There are laws that decide which products you can buy, which news you can see, even which platforms can exist. These laws shape what you believe to be normal. They decide what's possible in your country, in your business, in your mind. When laws favor corporations, prices rise. When they favor elites, opportunities shrink. You might think it's just the market, but it's really legislation quietly shifting the balance of control. Think about social media again. Why do you see certain posts first? Why are some opinions boosted while others disappear? Algorithms? Sure. But behind those algorithms are compliance laws, content regulations, data policies. Governments tell platforms what can stay, what must go, and who should never be seen. The invisible law filters your information, and in doing so, filters your thoughts. You believe you're making choices, but your choices were designed for you long before you clicked. The education system is another perfect example. From the textbooks you read to the subjects that are mandatory, everything follows a legal curriculum framework. You grow up thinking you're learning facts, but in reality, you're learning what the law allows you to learn. You're shaped to fit into the social structure that law has approved. You're trained for the kind of citizen the system wants: productive, obedient, predictable. So where does freedom fit into all this? The truth is, freedom isn't the absence of law. It's the illusion that you understand it. Real power lies in awareness. Once you see how law controls you, from your job to your phone to your thoughts, you start to notice the strings. And when you notice the strings, you can start to pull them. This invisible law isn't evil by nature. It can protect you. It keeps the streets safe, ensures you're paid fairly, gives you rights to speak, vote, and live. But it can also limit you when it's written by those who benefit from your control. That's why knowing the law is the ultimate weapon, because once you know how it works, it stops being invisible. Most people live their entire lives inside legal boundaries they never chose, playing by rules they never read, and defending systems they never questioned. They think they're free because no one's pointing a gun at them. But control doesn't always look like chains. Sometimes it looks like routine. You're told how to drive, what to post, what to buy, what to believe. You think it's culture, policy, or morality. But behind each one is a carefully designed legal structure. You can ignore it and stay a silent player. Or you can understand it and start playing smart. Because the truth is, the most powerful law in your life isn't the one in the courtroom. It's the one you follow without knowing. The one that tells you what's acceptable, what's possible, what's real. The one you've been obeying your whole life, quietly, automatically. And the moment you realize that, you stop being controlled by it. You start to control it. That's when the invisible law loses its power. Not because it disappears, but because you finally see it.